is. Jordan Schultz, ready to go. And follow him on Twitter at Schultz Report. There it is, Schultz_report. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good? What is it?
What's up, bro?
Going on?
Great to be back, man. Camps are open. It's a glorious time.
It is. It is. Are you working out or something? Is that what we got you after a workout or something?
No. We're at the farm. Just getting ready for preseason camps. Everything. I got a Seahawks shirt on right now, actually.
Okay. All right. So, question for you. What the hell is going on with the Kevin Durant thing? Because that has put a complete stalemate on the entire league. And ever since that Celtic report that came out of that offer, which I understand that the offer was made during Summer League and all that stuff, but still, that, the Celtics are a player in this one if they're going to be interested here.
Comes down to whether or not Brooklyn feels that Jaylen Brown is enough. And when I look at it, I think I'd rather have Kevin Durant for 3 years than Jaylen Brown for 8. I think if you're the Celtics and you get KD for the next 3 years, he's got 3 more years left on his deal till he's 36, and you pair him with Tatum and you can keep Robert Williams, to me, you are the odds-on prohibitive favorite. It's for sure. So, Jaylen Brown is a really good player, and I think if Brooklyn feels as if this is not salvageable, that's a great consolation prize. But I'm still of the belief that the best situation for Kevin might be in Brooklyn, at least might be, but very well is probably the best situation for him.
Well, it's not so much the best situation. It's who's competing with them with the package. That's the thing. I mean, as much as I'm a Miami fan, if you don't want to include Bam, there's no way you're competing with the Boston.
There's no conversation.
Nothing.
No conversation.
In fact, I've gone to the extreme. I've said that Miami is at such a disadvantage that unless they're willing to take Ben Simmons, that's the only way they differ themselves from everybody else. Not only would they have to trade Bam, they're going to have to take in Ben Simmons, too, at the same time. Whereas Phoenix won't do that. Boston won't do that. Toronto won't do that. They don't have to do that. Miami, in order to make this happen, I think not only would they have to give up Bam, they're going to have to take Ben Simmons. That's
Miami's not.
They don't have the ammo.
No, this is not going to happen. It's the Celtics are so interesting because very seldom, if ever, do you see a team that goes to the NBA Finals and then blows it up. And if you trade Jaylen Brown, you're trading your second best player for one of the 10 greatest players of all time. Right. But you're still a much different team. Now, Boston has to make the decision, and this is Brad Stevens now, who's running the show. He has to make the decision. Like I just said, is if you feel as if, how would I say this? You feel as if it's worth it or it's dramatically different when you're getting Kevin. Because if you feel like you're only getting marginally better and that it's not going to give you the contending window or whatever, then it's not worth it. But if you feel as if Kevin is still one of the best 5 players in the league, then it's worth it because Jaylen Brown is 8 years younger and he gives you a dimension of, contending or helping you contend for a long time. So it's a really tough decision for both teams. But ultimately, I guess Brooklyn, Sean Marks, the GM, you have to also wonder if there has been conversations, and I don't know this, but I'm just asking, conversations that Kevin has had internally that basically say, look, I've seen what Ben Simmons is. I looked under the hood. He's not for me. That's another part of this too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And so if you're Miami, and look, I understand you're standing pat, pun intended, because you're waiting to the last moment that you have no shot at this Durant move before you move on. And right now it doesn't look like anybody's moving on to Donovan Mitchell, and the
whole league is waiting for Kevin. That's
right. Miles Turner. I don't know, dude. Is John Collins on the block or not? Because I have heard nothing. Like people talk about John Collins, but I haven't heard anything from the Atlanta area that says they want to trade John Collins. Because really, if you want to make a run, after making the trade with San Antonio, I would think you want to keep everybody and make a go of it, because that's a pretty damn good little team there that they have in Atlanta. So what's the deal with John Collins?
Well, there's two types of conversations that happen in the NBA and in the NFL as well, but more so in the NBA. You are actively shopping a guy and you're listening, which means you're taking calls. There are incessant number of calls that happen that don't even get reported. What do you think about this guy? In
Right.
terms of Collins, it's been that for the last 2 years.
Okay.
It's like he's available. He's not really, but maybe could he be? It's like a very strange. So for a guy
He's
that's
available depending on what you're offering me, is what you're saying.
and I think it's somewhat similar with Miles Turner in Indiana. I mean, these are two really good young forwards who still have their best basketball ahead of them, and in Miles's case, one of the best defenders in the league. So
And I would say this: the difference between those two situations, I think John Collins would be happy staying in Atlanta. I'm not sure Miles Turner's, and I think Indiana knows he's not really there for the long term. He probably wants to move on after this.
I think if I'm going to rate those two situations in terms of player happiness, I think there's no doubt that Miles, would be best served on another team where he's more valued. I've always felt like Indiana looked at him like as like a second class player behind Sabonis. The way they've made their moves, I thought the Halliburton trade would have been great for them, and they just haven't invested in Miles the way that I think they should have. I think he's a really good player, and in John's case, they also have ancillary pieces, specifically with DeAndre Hunter, who they love, and is similar to Collins, and also hasn't gotten paid yet. So I think both those guys are ultimately going to get moved, but I think Turner probably first.
I think Turner becomes a hell of a player in Miami.
Well, he could play next to Bam. He could play
because he's a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, he does a lot of.
Oh my God,
he's a really good player. He's also a really good dude. I've gotten to know him really well over the last couple of years. He'd be a perfect fit for Miami. He's really changed his body, his approach. He's kind of already got that mentality of I'm going to be in great shape. Right. I think he'd be a great fit for you. Mm-hmm. Heat fans would love him.
Yeah, I think, and it's exactly what they need, because in order to keep Bam on the court with another big man, it has to be a big man that can shoot. That's been the problem. You have Dedmon. You can't put both guys out there.
Dedmon's really good, but he's a really shooter player. But you get in these series just like Gobert on a higher level, but similar. You can't play these 7-footers who can't stretch the floor.
If we were in the 90s, then okay, we can play them both. We're good.
We're in the 90s.
Yeah,
think about Alonzo Mourning in today's game, though. It would be the same type of deal.
Yeah.
Really good player who is limited at the end of games.
Right, exactly. Yeah, although Zoe developed a decent 15,
a little bit.
Yeah, a decent. Yeah, he wasn't great, but he was decent at that. But he was a monster in the paint, and that's the difference.
That's true.
Bam doesn't even have a post game, actually. So
Bam is your classic mid-post face-up. I can facilitate. I can do all these different things. But am I really the number 2 on a championship team?
No.
The answer is no. Not yet, at least.
No, he's not. He's not, because offensively,
but he's being paid like he is.
Right, and that I call him a super role player. I don't call him a superstar.
I call him a star. I think he's a star player.
He could be an all-star. Yeah, I could go with all-star. I can go all-star.
Top 30 player in the NBA right now. If top 25, maybe. But that's a star. That's not a 1. And maybe he's not a 2
Not
yet.
a 2 either. He's not a 2 either. He's not. You got to score, bro. You got to score in this league. You got to have something that makes you an offensive force in order for you to be a 1 or a 2 in this.
Well, look at Jaylen Brown, though. That's a legit number 2 guy on a championship caliber team. I mean, that's what he was.
Although I got to tell you, when I look at Jaylen Brown, I feel like he reluctantly plays that number 2 role.
He wants to be the 1.
Yeah, dude, I feel like when I see him, I see him with an attitude like I get that, but I see him with an attitude like he wants to be
he's a killer.
1.
Yeah, Jaylen's a killer. I'll tell you, I'll take you back to a story that was told to me about him, and forgive me for dovetailing here, but it is relevant in the sense of if you're an NBA fan. A really close friend of mine was one of the main reasons why Jaylen Brown went to Cal. He was the lead recruiter, and he recruited Jaylen Brown basically throughout his entire high school career. He was 14, 15. And he told me that this is when he was drafted. So this is before he was a star. He said Jaylen Brown is he has the type of mentality and killer mindset that's going to make him a star in the NBA. Is he a top 10, top 20 guy? I don't know, but he will be a star, not just because of his talent, but because of his mentality. And I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when I see it, and I think at times he wants to take over games and all that. I just, when I watch it, it just seems to me like a dude that really has an edge that wants to be a number one. Whether he can or not, I don't know. But sometimes, man, when he gets mad, like, you watch him play.
Well, then he gets a little out of character, and that's when you see those turnovers. And
Yeah.
you want that, but there's got to be a balance, and I don't
There's
know if he's quite there yet.
Yeah, exactly. No, that is absolutely fair. Okay, so then I get it. We talked with Anthony Chang, who's on the Heat beat and one of our insiders here, and he thinks the Heat are continuing to hold out. They don't want to make a Miles Turner move or a Harrison Barnes move or a John Collins move because then it takes them completely out of the whole Durant thing. And I totally understand that. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense to me is I still don't think you're going to get Durant anyway. And unless my crazy idea comes through that maybe they've already talked about, hey, we'll take Ben Simmons too, and we'll give you Bam. But the reports are they're not willing to part with Bam. Okay.
Ben Simmons is the antithesis of a Miami Heat player.
I know.
It's never going to happen. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But because everybody else has better deals than you, that's the only way I think you can entice them. Where they say, "God, we got
the same package." We've heard about this Robinson Hero package. Right. It's the same package,
right?
And at some point, I think Miami Heat fans just have to be realistic that and the Heat that they're not going to get Kevin. But hey, if you can get Miles Turner or Donovan Mitchell or John Collins, those are really, really good young players who are all in their mid-20s.
So that's my question. When does the sands of the hourglass run out? And when are we going to hear from Kevin Durant? Because the guy that we hear from all his burner accounts, we all hear from him all the time. He has been incredibly quiet on all of this. So at what point does the league say we've got to move on? What time, when does the Heat, Phoenix, Toronto, whoever else wants to make a move say we've got to move on? Atlanta say we've got to move on. When does this happen?
I mean, that is the billion-dollar question.
Right.
I think, I talked to Rich Kleiman, who I've known a long time, is a very good friend, and he's Kevin's manager, agent, whatever, about 3 weeks ago. And there's no rush. There's no rush now, and there wasn't then. So if you had to if you said there's a timeline, what is it? I think it could be in the next 2 weeks, and I think it could be in the next 2 months. There's no rush for them. And because he's Kevin Durant, you're one of the very few players who has that much power, and that many teams will hold out with the hope of getting you. So in Boston, making this reported offer, for Brooklyn to make the decision and pull the trigger, I still don't think it's enough to the Jaylen Brown package.
Follow him on Twitter at Schultz_report. Catch him here, of course, with our redrecover.com Schultz report. Jordan, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time.
I thought we were going to do a little football. You've got to promise we were talking football next week.
Yeah, they just started.
I know, but you see Tua making those throws. Oh, Tua, he looked pretty good. So
he did. He did. I was there yesterday. Well,
yeah, he looked good. I mean, listen, who knows? But he looked good.
Yeah, he
looked
all right,
brother. Thank you.
Early, I'm a Tua guy, so I believe in the kid. I'm good with him. So it's all good. Thanks. You, Jordan. Appreciate you. You got it. That is your Schultz report, brought to you by redrecover.com.